Hi, my name is Simone, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I help people with their spiritual awakening and their ascension journey. And thank you for joining me today. If you're new to my channel, if you find that you resonate with this video, please press subscribe. It will also notify you every time I release a video if you press the bell button as well. And namaste, I'm glad to have you with me. So today I want to talk about psychic abilities and premonitions. Mostly premonitions, and I want to talk about my experience, what I've learned on this journey since my awakening. I had my awakening about 3 years ago, maybe a little over, but my awakening started. I started my YouTube channel. I had a strong desire to help people to raise the vibration of humanity. I didn't know anything at first. I was coming out of the Christian. Everything that I was opening to in spirituality was um, pretty much Christianity, was against it. It's talking to spirits, seeing the future, all of these things were sins. So sometimes when you go through this awakening, you have to see, part of the awakening is unlearning old belief systems just to learn with your awakened consciousness and find out what's right for you. So one of the things about spiritual awakening that everybody gets really excited about is psychic abilities. Yay! And just like everybody else, I was just as excited. And I wanted to open my third eye. I wanted to meet my spirit guides. I wanted to see the future. I wanted to have visions, and those things started to come. In fact, not only they started to come, I started to notice that these intuitive gifts were within me all along. And that's one thing that when you start to understand more about these intuitive gifts, you'll be able to pinpoint the times of your life where you use your intuitive gifts. And so also with the gifts, it's these psychic ability gifts, we all can't have them. We all have access to them because we're all spirit, we're all one. We are all one. As I always say, we're creator gods. We and the God energy source are the same energy. We're just separated for this experience. So because of that, we can tap into these abilities and to deep knowledge and Akashic records at any time. But we have to know how to do it. So just like a very good example, if you work out at a gym and you go there and you see some people have really, really big muscles and some don't. They're just starting out. See, the thing is, the people with the big muscles, the thing about muscle is everyone can get one. And everyone can get muscular if they work out. And if they don't work out, they don't use the muscles, then they lose it. So it's kind of like that with your psychic and spiritual abilities. The more you work at it, the more the more you'll develop your gifts. The more you use them, the more you begin to trust them. And so, waking up to this, those gifts are going to come to you regardless. It's a matter of learning how to see them, learning how to quiet your mind, learning how to open up, and learning how to trust your spirit. So when it comes to premonitions, a lot of people, they want to know what's going to happen. People go to fortune tellers all the time. They go to psychics. The fortune tellers tells you, things, and it may or may not happen. A lot of times, I guess it kind of does. That's why people believe in psychics so much. Well, the thing with psychics, I remember one time I went to a psychic. It was years ago, and I I was dating some guy, and I felt like he was cheating on me. And she said, "I'll give you one question," and I was just like, "God, there's a few questions I want to ask, but I want to know if he's cheating on me because if he is, I'm going to move on and leave right now." And so she was just like, "No, he's not." Right? I later found out he was cheating on me, and I wondered, like, why did this? Why was it wrong? Why did she say that? Why would she lie to me, And then as I developed my own intuitive gifts, I saw that it wasn't that she lied at me. There was a course in my life, and that person was there to dare to expose my self-love and my lack of self-love and my self-worth. And I believe that my higher self may have guided her to say no at the time so that I could go through the journey. That journey in itself helps me awaken. It helped me become Zen mommy. It helped me realize that I deserve more, that I'm a beautiful soul, all of that. So another thing that happens when you go to a psychic and they predict the future, this is, you can't always count on it, but here's how it goes. The thing about our futures is there's many different timelines, and it changes day to day. It changes with every decision we make in our life. So if you come to a psychic, what they're going to give you is they're going to give you the results of a specific timeline. But they can't really account for every single timeline, but they'll give you from what they read of your energy right now, what could possibly happen on your timeline. But the thing is, if you like what they say, then you're getting on that time. So if they give you a positive reading and you like the positive reading, you want that positive reading, you're pretty much aligning with the timeline of manifesting what they're talking about. And then sometimes if you don't like it, or if you don't believe it, then it may not go, or you might make a decision that leads you to another timeline. So the thing with the there's a lot of different timelines, and one of my gifts is I can see potential timelines in a bunch of them. And because I can see, I can never give anybody, like, I don't like doing fortune. I don't want to give anybody a direct answer. I rather help people pick their path and create, manifest their reality. I don't want to tell them this is going to happen, because only you know what you need for your spiritual journey. And so, so anyways, when I started seeing the future, I would see things about to happen. Thing about seeing the future, there's a reason why we came here, and, we don't have a memory of our actual abilities as creators. We came here for a certain experience. We took away all our ability to remember so that we can learn and create from that point of view. And so sometimes seeing things, um, you'll see something, and then if you get dogmatic about it, I remember, let me think of an example real quick. I remember I saw a vision, and the vision was, I saw a vision that I was going to be dating someone, dating someone. I saw just like a potential relationship in this vision. And, I thought I was on that path with that. And then all of a sudden things just started going wrong. It was starting to look like this is not right. It's not going to work out. I was unhappy. But I stuck to the vision. I was like, but no, 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 no. I saw this vision. This is supposed to work out. So I started dealing with drama. I started dealing with being treated bad, disrespected. And then I started to see that, you know what? On this journey, when you see a vision of the future, you can't get dogmatic about it. It's almost like the moment that you align to this timeline, it's almost impossible to try to keep it, because you're so dogmatic about it. You're not open. See, the universe you're going to be always with the multiple timelines that and the possibilities that your life can go. If you get dogmatic about one, you can miss out on so much, right? So you see a vision, like I see a vision with this person I was going out with, and in the end it turned out to be the person to help me realize my self-worth. And in order to realize your self-worth and your lack of self-love, is someone has to come in and treat you like crap for you to realize I deserve better than crap, right? But in order for me to get my intended husband, soulmate, see, I had to match a love vibration, because this man was going to love me. He was going to find me worthy, but I can't match his vibration if I'm down here, allowing somebody to treat me bad. So it really took for me to realize, look, I'm a beautiful person. You're crazy. Something wrong with you. Soon as I got rid of them, soon as I stood my ground about what I deserve, that's when I got what I deserve. So you have to take these visions with a grain of salt. And then also there's this thing called a knowing. A knowing comes along like this. You're like, you might be sitting here. In fact, I had a knowing a few months before I met Dorian. all of a sudden it hit me. And I said, I'm getting married. And I was just like, I'm getting married. Oh my God. And it's kind of like a check happens mentally where you just know with every fiber of your being that this is right and this is real. I had no man in sight, no relationship in sight. And in fact, I was giving up on relationships and marriage at that point. And all of a sudden, I was so happy. I wasn't so happy. I mean, I was so happy that I saw the marriage. I saw that I would finally reach the vibration. At the time, I was struggling with my raising my self-worth vibration. I was thinking maybe I'll never get there. But when I saw that vision, I was like, yes, I'm gonna get there. But even the knowing, sometimes you don't want to take it. You don't want to be dogmatic about it. Something about getting too into it. Like I getting too into it it'll mess you up. It'll make other timelines happen that won't work out. It's kind of like with the law of attraction. Do you want something too bad? If you're negatively yearning towards it, the universe is going to give you the opposite, because the universe is not reading your actual desire that you're verbally saying. The universe is using its psychic abilities to read your energy. So if you're worried that you're not going to get the thing you want to manifest, that worry, that fear energy is leaves such a powerful presence in the universe that the universe reads that's what she needs more of. And so, and that's why I really want to talk about like the visions and the psychic abilities and the timelines. A lot of times, being intuitive, going through an awakening. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to start getting this knowledge, especially when you're dealing with other people. Because I can see timelines. One of the things that we all also another thing is we all have a specialty or a gift that we're more dominant in than the other. We have ability to access them all. But I think one of my abilities are, mainly clairvoyance. I get a lot of the knowing, and then I see just like multiple timelines, and mostly with people who are closer to me, or if I spend time and get to know, I'll start see their timelines start opening up, or I'll see my timelines with that person. Like if I'll see a timeline like if I like when I met Dorian, I saw us get married. I saw one timeline, I saw us getting married. And then, but before I would meet people, I would see if we were going to have a long friendship. I would see if I ended up dating them, I saw that they were going to be a cheater. I would see so many things. And so when I got involved with my husband, Dorian, I saw some timelines. All of a sudden, once we got together, I started seeing his timelines. And I saw a timeline, a problem that he was going to have with his family. He was really I saw a problem he was going to have with his family, and he was taking on a responsibility with them that I knew was bad news. And he didn't see it then. He thought he was being, like trying to do it right by helping and doing what he was doing. And I was freaking out. All I saw what was going to happen. I saw a bad thing coming, and I thought it was going to affect us, and I thought it was going to mess up our relationship. And there was no way I could talk to him, because the thing is, you see something and you try to talk to the person about it, you're only going to you may trigger them the wrong way. They won't see it until they actually see it. And I remember I was in so much anxiety over this timeline I saw with him. And finally it happened. The situation blew up that I knew that was going to happen. But it surprised me. That situation actually caused him to finally, for once, realize his worth and stand up to his family. And he learned a really big lesson that really helped with his ascension progress. And after I saw that, I was just like, oh, I was worried about the wrong things. I was so worried that this thing was going to blow up and it was going to affect us. And the thing is, when we see these futures, we can't attach to them. We can't attach what we think is going to happen. See, we'll see one thing that's going to happen, right? But then our mind starts creating scenarios of where that one thing is going to lead. And those scenarios will get us emotionally involved. And so a lot of times, so when you see a future of someone, if you have a premonition of a friend, a family member, maybe even, you're a reader, you know, sometimes sometimes we have to detach from what's going to happen, because all things are working together for our highest good, especially if you're on this ascending journey, you're ascending consciousness, you're focusing on positive change in a positive life. You can't don't get into fear over what you see, because like I just said, he had a valuable lesson. That lesson made him become a stronger man for our family. That lesson was, do you know one thing also? I had noticed, like, I had this thing where when I dated somebody, I somehow always manifested their parents being toxic towards me. And every time I did it, the man never stood up to the parents. They kind of let their parents, a lot of times it ended the situation, the friendship, relationship, or whatever, or it gave me a ton of stress. And so a lot of times when we go through something bad and we see something happening, we automatically think, see, the ego always calculates past data. So what's really get involved is the ego starts to jump in. When you start to worry, you start to see alternate timelines based on those results of the future. And so we have to step out of the ego and step out of attaching it, because I could have made a big deal and I could have messed up his timeline of the lesson he had. And again, the universe showed me that I finally manifested someone who was a loyal, decent man that was going to make sure nobody would come between us. And so I really want to share that, because a lot of times when you start to have a vision of a timeline or a future, and you start to see, or you see something that's about to happen. So here's the thing: when you start to see a timeline, or you start to imagine a possibility of something that might happen, you're thinking it in your head. So let me tell you something about thought form energy. Thought form energy exists in another dimension, and it is manifesting into timelines. And even though you think you're just thinking about it, you're actually creating timeline possibilities. The more things you worry about, especially fears, you're creating actual possibilities that can happen. Like, oh, I have a fear if I drive today, I'm gonna get in a car accident, right? Well, that's not just a fear, that's a thought. That's a thought that you just created a possible timeline. If you're matching a certain frequency, there's a chance you get in a car accident. And so sometimes we gotta allow, it's one thing to have these gifts, but sometimes we just gotta allow, even if it looks scary, always know that the universe has multiple ways that this can work out. And in the end, almost everything is a lesson for our good. And what else did I wanted to say about psychic abilities, visions, premonitions? The things that you see and the things that other people see may be different things, because again, everybody has different timelines, and right now we're at a time where the reality is shifting. The timeline, there's so many timelines emerging right now, and there's going in so different directions that there's gonna be like this split. It's already started with the whole coronavirus, and now like some other stuff is happening. And if you're staying in like lower vibrational frequencies, you're gonna have timelines to match your vibration. But if you're trying to raise your vibration, ascend your consciousness, stay in a happier place, then you're gonna be in more positive timelines. And it gets to the point where those timelines don't match. But it's going to be an adjustment. It's going to take some time. Anything else about the future? Let me think for a second. I'm going to pause. Okay, I did remember there was one more thing I wanted to say. So I wanted to say how, it got to a point I had opened, when I took ayahuasca really opened my third eye. Like it really, especially when I had the near death experience, out of body. And when I came back from that dimension, that realm, I came back with my abilities wide open. Some of them aren't as sensitive as it was when I first came back. And I I felt like I knew too much. I felt like I was losing my mind. Sometimes I do now when I see so many possibilities, especially with what's going on right now in the world. I see so much. And I've gotten to the point where, I literally feel like you can drive yourself crazy with all these possibilities, all these potential futures, premonitions. And so I started to learn that, I started to freak out, like, because I would see different timelines, but wasn't sure which one I was going to end up on. And so I started to collapse the timelines. And so when I say collapse the timeline, I started to see, okay, so say there's possible futures, right? Let's just say with the world, everything's going on today. Everybody's worried that with the riots, that'll turn into a police state or something, right? And so that's a possible timeline. Or you see a timeline where timeline where you hit a lower vibration or something like that, which that would be a lower vibration if you go into a timeline where crazy stuff is happening in the world. So you collapse the timeline by, number one, shut it down. Don't even think about that timeline. Don't even worry, especially worry. Because if you're worrying about it, that's just as well as saying, I want this to happen. So what you want to do is you choose the timeline you want to be on, right? And you envision what you want to see. And then you try to match that in that vision. You think about it, you daydream about it, you start to feel like the happiness that you would feel, the contentness, whatever the peace you want to feel. So you want to focus on, and if it's hard to do that, the thing you want to focus on the most is try to stay in a happy vibration. The more you try to focus on being happy, when something negative happens and you start to think, oh my God, could this happen? All you need to do is stop that, think about something that makes you happy. Oh, I like making candles. I'm gonna go make some pretty candles. That makes me feel good. Oh, I'm gonna talk to my friends. I'm gonna play with my kids. I'm gonna read a book. I'm gonna go into nature today, and I'm gonna look at this beautiful nature and know that anything is possible. And so it's really, when they say a shift, the shift is you. You have to make the shift. You have to decide, I want to shift to a positive vibration. You have to be the positive vibration. And then there's no way in the world you will match with a lower vibrational incident. And so, and I'm going to leave it like that. I know I'm a little over 20 minutes. Thank you for watching. Peace and love. Namaste.